Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Clicker Game tutorial. In this episode, we will be adding on to the functionalities from the last episode. So first, we will add another pop-up div that will show up on the right side of this container. So this div will show you how much clicking power that you'll get when you purchase the upgrade. Also, we will make the cost and the level dynamic. So when you make an upgrade, the cost will increase and the level will increase as well. Then we will add 2 more upgrades. Finally, we will add a stats window on the bottom of the page that will show you how much your clicking power is, as well as how many gems you're generating every second. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the code. So we'll first head into the index.html and make the pop-up window first. So to do that, we will head inside the upgrade div, and right below the right section, we can create a new div. And for this div, we can call it next level info. And inside this div, we can create a paragraph tag. And in here, we can say something like plus span, just so that we can target this value. So we can say +1, and we can say gems per second. I'll also add a break tag over here to just add a new line, and I'll call this one something like cursor increase. Okay, so I'll move over to the styles. So below this one, we can say dot next level info. And inside here, we can position this div with absolute. What this does is that it will position this container with reference to a parent container. And that container will be the upgrade div. So if I can just scroll over here and say position relative to the upgrade div, and then I can go down and say right 0. So this will position the next level info div on the very right side of the upgrade div. So if I go back, we can see that it is on the right side, but I wanted to actually go outside of the div itself, on the outside of the border. So to do that, we can give it a negative value, something like -100 pixels. If we save, okay, that looks a little bit better. I'll give it some more additional styling. So we can say background color, and I'll give it some color of gray. So I'll say this, and I'll give it a height of 80 pixels, a width of 100 pixels, and a text align of center. So if we go back, okay, that looks a little bit better, but I'll just move it a little bit more to the right. So maybe 105 pixels. Okay, that looks a lot nicer. Okay, but I want to actually display this div only when the upgrade div is hovered. So to do that, we can first hide it. So we can say display none, and then when the upgrade div is hovered, so we can do upgrade : hover, then we target the next level info, and we can say display block. Okay, we go back. Now it's not showing, but when we hover over it, it is showing. Nice. Okay, so now let's add on to the functionalities in JavaScript. So I want to make it that when you click on the upgrade div, the cost will increase and the level will increase as well. So to do that, I will give the level a unique span tag. And I'll move this one here. And we can call this clicker level. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'll make this one clicker increase. And if we go back to the index, we can grab that value. So we can say let clicker level equals document query selector dot clicker level, and also we can say let clicker increase equals document dot query selector dot clicker increase. Okay, so now that we've got all the values over, we can go into the byClicker function and say clicker level dot inner HTML plus plus. So now we go back to the program, click and buy the upgrade. We can see that the level has increased. Nice. So now let's work on the clicker cost and the clicker increase. So for this one, I'll need to just parse it first. So parse clicker increase equals document. Sorry, not document. Dot parse float clicker increase. Okay, so now that we are working with a dynamic value, which is the clicker increase, we can actually create a new value. Let's call it gems per click, but I'll just write GPC equals 1 at the start. So instead of saying parse gem plus equals 1 every time you click the gem, we can instead say parse gem plus equals GPC, which is pretty much the same thing as before. But this way we can actually increase this value. So now, when the clicker is bought, we can say clicker, we can first increase the clicker increase. So we can say parsed clicker increased equals to parsed clicker increase times, say 1.03. And now, 1.03. We can say clicker increase dot inner HTML equals parsed clicker increase. So this is basically just updating the value that's inside here, the +1. And now we can actually increase our clicking power. We can say GPC plus equals to parse clicker increase. Okay, nice. So we go back and give it a try. So we just, to make things easier, I will set the starting gem to 500 just so that we can buy the upgrade straight away without actually clicking every single time. So we buy this one, and now we click. Oh, I've made a mistake somewhere. Oh, I see. So clicker increase, this should be actually inner HTML. So now if we go back, we try again, we buy this one, we can see that it is increasing, which is very nice. And now if we click, we can see that we're getting, instead of 1, but we're getting more gems every single time we click. Okay, but this is, okay, the decimal points are getting ridiculous. So I will just round the values. So we can first round this one over here. We can say parsed gem.innerHTML equals math.round parse gem. And instead of doing this, we can just abbreviate it, the whole thing into one line. So we just copy that one and put it to here. And now we go back, click, and now the value has been rounded. Okay, but we still have to round off this value. So if we go back here, 1.03. So for this value, I actually wanted to round it to 2 decimal points. So to do this, we can make a bracket around this one and say 2 fixed 2. So basically 2 decimal points. So now we go back and buy this one, and we buy, okay, it says not a number again. Okay, so the 2 fixed function actually makes whatever it is fixing turns into a string. So again, we need to parse float it. So parse float and bracket around the entire thing. And now we go back and try again. Okay, everything looks to be working. I still need to increase the clicker, the cost value. So we can say parsed clicker cost times equals, say, 1.18. I'm just making up these numbers. And we can say clicker cost.inner HTML equals math.round parsed clicker cost. So now we go back, try again. Okay, it is not still not increasing for some reasons. Parsed. Oh, sorry, made a mistake on here. So now we go back and okay, now it is increasing. And we do this, nice. Oh, but when you buy the upgrade, the gems can still become a non-integer value. So we just go back and try to fix that. We can see that over here we're saying parse gem minus equals the parse clicker cost. So we also need to round off this value. So we can say math.round, and similarly to the one that we abbreviated before, we can just take this and make it all into one line. So like this, and we can delete this line. Let's try again. If we buy, nice, it is always an integer value. Cool. So that is basically the entire buying function done. So now we can add another upgrade. So we go back to the index.html and select the entire upgrade div. I'll just make it more clear. If we just take that entire div and go down a few lines and paste the entire thing, we can just add a new upgrade just like that. So if we save that one and go back, we can see that we've duplicated this initial clicker div, and I will make some margin between them just so that it's easier to read. We go back to the upgrade container and we can say margin bottom, and I'll say 30 pixels. We go back, I think that's too much. Say 20 pixels. Okay, that looks a lot nicer. And I want to change the images. So instead of saying clicker white, I will instead say pickaxe.png, and I'll just move this pickaxe to here. And hopefully I will have the assets in the description below. So pickaxe.png, and we come back, we can see that, nice. And so now I want to change all the clicker related words to pickaxe. So I can select clicker and press Ctrl D. What that does, it will select the next word that is the same as the one you selected. Ctrl D again and D again. So now we have everything selected. We can change it to pickaxe and make sure to make this a capital letter. I will change the starting cost to say 130 and the gems to 4. Okay, we go back. Nice. Pickaxe 130 and 4 gems per second. Oh, sorry. So 4 gems per second. Nice. So now we can go to the JavaScript file and we can copy and paste this entire thing again. Go down here and do the same thing before. Control D, Control D, 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 D. Select everything and say pickaxe, and just make sure to make these ones a capital letter still. So pickaxe level. Oh, sorry, not this one. This one should still be lowercase, but it will be these ones in the middle. That would be a capital. Okay, so now that we have that done, we can now copy the function over and say buy pickaxe. Same thing as before. You can copy this entire thing and say pickaxe, and I will make some of these ones turn into lowercase. Okay, so now that's, oh, sorry, one more. Okay, so now that's all done. I'll go back and give it a test. If I buy this one, oh, 490. Parse gem minus equals parse pickaxe cost. Parse pickaxe cost. So that should be actually 130. If I go back, pickaxe cost is 130, and we have got the pickaxe cost over here. Yeah, pickaxe cost equals query selector, and then we have parsed this one. Oh, right, I didn't actually change the function that we're calling, so this should be buy pickaxe. Okay, so now if we go back, we by this one. It is deducting 130 correctly. And now we click. Okay, we're getting actually 4 more clicking power. Cool. Okay, nice. But one more thing I want to change is that only the clicker will actually increase our clicking power. All the upgrades further on from there will actually give us passive gems every single second. So to do that, we can actually create another variable called gems per second. We can say GPS equals starting off at 0, because at the start we're getting no passive gems. And below here, the by pickaxe function, we can declare a new function, and this function will be called setInterval. What this function will do is that it will run a specific piece of code, whatever we say inside here, and run this code every reoccurringly. So we can say 1000, which means 1000 milliseconds. So this code inside here will run every second basically. And now we can say parsed. We can say parse gem plus equals to gems per second, and then we can update the inner HTML. So we can say gem.innerhtml equals math.round parsed gem. Okay, so now instead of for the by pickaxe function, instead of incrementing GPC, we can say GPS plus equals parse pickaxe increase. So now that's done, we go back and by the pickaxe, we can see that the gems is increasing every second. Nice. But it's increasing a little bit slowly. I want to make it more smooth. So to do that, we can say gems per second divided by 10. But we will run this every 0.1 seconds. So it will still give us the same amount of gems per second, but it will just make the animation a little bit smoother. So if we go back, we can see that it is updating a lot faster. How nice. Okay, so I will add one more upgrade. So we just do this one again and duplicate it down here. Okay, so just like we did before, we can update all the pickaxe values. So we can say instead of here, we can copy, and change it to minor. And here, make it a capital and update this function. Okay, and the starting cost, we can say 850. And it will give us 12 gems per second. Okay, just over here, I just realized actually it should be gems per click for this one, not gems per second. So now we go back to here, we copy this one and bring it down and Control D everything and say minor and update this one and this one and copy this function down here and change all the pickaxe values to minor, and we'll change this one, change this one, and change this one. Okay, so now that one is done. Okay, so now that's done, we can give it a test. So, okay, I'll increase the gem at the start, so I don't have to click 300 times. Say 5,000, and now if we click that, okay, it's not getting called. This one is, oh, this one 600. By minor. Oh, I forgot to change the name. My bad, my bad. So that should be by minor. We go back and try. Now it's working, and we can see it is giving. I think that should be around 12. Maybe I'll make this one a little bit more. Say 24. Test. Okay, yeah, that looks correct. Cool. So now that we have 3 upgrades, and it is showing us how much clicking power or passive gems that we're getting every second, which is very, very nice. Okay, so now let's make the stats window that will show us how basically our power, how much gems we're getting per second, as well as how many gems we get per click. So to do that, I'll go to the section tag and go right below everything inside the section, and we can make a new div. And this div, we can call it statistics. And inside here, we can make another div. And this div will contain all the text. So this one we can say text. And inside here, I'll have two paragraph tags, so p times 2. And I'll say GPC. And I'll give this one a span tag so we can target it in the JavaScript. And we can say ID equals GPC text. So ID is basically another way that we can use to target in JavaScript. And there's not really much of a difference, but I just wanted to use it for this one. So we go down here and copy this one. We can say GPS and say GPS text. Oh, this should be one at the start, right? So now we got this one. If we go back to the program, we can see GPC, GPS, but we want it on the bottom of our page. So to do that, we can go to the styles and say .statistics and also give it a position of absolute. Because this time we want to position it in relative to the body. So we can give the body tag a position of relative and say bottom 0. Okay, nice. So now it is positioned on the very bottom of the page. Nice. Okay, so let's give it some more styling. We can say width equals, say, 450 pixels. Padding is 30 pixels on all sides. And we can give it a border of 2 pixels wide and color of white and its solid lines. And we can give it a top right border. Top right radius, sorry, of 10 pixels and a top left radius of 10 pixels. We go back. This is because we don't want to actually have any border radius on the bottom, only at the top, just to make it a little bit rounded. Okay, so I want to center this one. We can say left of 50%. Okay, so we can see that it's moved a lot more than just 50%. It's now actually placed in the center. And the reason being is that right now the pivot point is actually on the left side of the div. So this space between the left side of the page and left side of the div and the left side of the page, this is 50% of the entire page width. But if we wanted to make the pivot point the center, we have to give it a transition property. We can say transform, translate, and we can say negative 50%. So this just means moving the pivot point 50% more to the left side. So now it is properly centered. Nice. Okay, so now let's try to style the text. We can say .text and give it a flex property, so they're on the same line, and give it a gap of 100 pixels. Center by saying justify content is center, and give it a font weight of bold and a font size of 22 pixels. And go back. Okay, nice. That looks a lot nicer. So now we need to actually update these values when we make an upgrade. And to do that, so GPS text, GPC text, we can go to the index.js and say let GPC text equals documents. So instead of query selector, we need to say get element by ID. And we can say GPC text. And we can say let GPS text equals document get element by ID and say GPS text. The reason we're using getElementById and not querySelector is because we gave it a ID and not a class. So now if we go back and in the setInterval function, we can check for the current GPS and the current GPC. So to do that, all we have to say is gpc text.innerHTML equals math.round gpc, and gps text.innerHTML equals math.round gps. Okay, then we save this. If we go, say, buy the pickaxe, we can see our GPS increases. We buy the miner, it will increase to 33. We're getting 33 gems per second. And if we buy the clicker, our GPC will increase. Nice. That will be all for the second episode of the clicker game tutorial. In the next episode, we will be adding in some animations when the gem is clicked. Also, we will be diving into JavaScript objects in order to create one general function that's able to be used throughout all the upgrades, instead of having to create a separate function for every single upgrade. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode.